Yo, what is going on, Vulcan Turtle family? I hope you're having a fantastic day. I just came back from a league challenge and had a boatload of fun. Unfortunately, I placed 5th, so there's no points for me. We didn't have enough players for a top 8-point payout. We only had enough for a top 4, so, your standard under 20, I think 24 players. So, it is what it is. Had a lot of friends there. They seem to have had a lot of fun. One of my friends actually made it into the top 4, got himself some points to start the season. So, Tyler, congrats. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about a deck where if you're thinking about going into cups and challenges, I honestly think that this deck has the potential not only to serve you well in cups and challenges, but also has the potential to possibly win worlds. So sit back and relax as we talk about Lost Box Giratina. Giratina VSTAR is probably one of the strongest VSTARs in the game. Now, I know that the term strongest is quite subjective because we do have things like Arceus VSTAR, Palkia VSTAR. There are some really good VSTARs out there. So why do I think that Giratina VSTAR is the best? Yes, it doesn't have the acceleration that Arceus has, and nor does it have the acceleration that Palkia has, to be fair. But what it does have is probably the most offensive use power. Yeah, what I'm talking about here is Star Requiem. This is the only variant of Giratina VSTAR that can consistently set up Star Requiem, and that is an attack that says as long as you have 10 or more cards in your Lost Zone, you can just knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. So if they have something like a Duraludon VMAX or an Urshifu VMAX, any VMAX Pokemon, that's just an easy 3 prizes. It's an auto delete, and it's no problem because getting to 10 in your Lost Zone is not hard to do. You also have an extremely powerful attack here in Lost Impact. 280 damage, and then you put 2 energy attached to your Pokemon into the Lost Zone. That's right, your Pokemon, meaning that it doesn't have to come from Giratina VSTAR. It can come from anywhere in your field. Like if you have 2 energy on a Greninja and you just don't want them there, throw those away. Keep your Giratina built up so it can take another knockout next turn. It is actually super sick. Giratina VSTAR honestly is probably the most powerful in just raw power, but can it actually keep up with the meta? And personally, I think it can. I think it's really time for Giratina VSTAR to shine. I think that this deck has the power to win worlds. Now, let's go into the list. This is a very basic list, so that way you guys can make changes or, do whatever you want to do. I do want to mention that Giratina VSTAR Lost Box version did win 2 back-to-back late nights. So honestly, take this deck to a challenge because you're probably going to do okay so long as you just know how to play it. And to be honest, it's very handholdy. It's not like those other Lost Box lists where you have to think 50 turns ahead. No. This is literally make Giratina big and swing hard. That is all you got to do. So how are we doing that? We got Comfey here with flower selecting. We have extra consistency with Greninja. We have a backup attacker in Cramorant. It's really nice to get that little damage peck down when you can. And we also have Sableye here, so that way we can make sure that we are doing the big damage later on with those damage counters. Manaphy is here to protect our bench. We also have 4 VIP Pass here. VIP Pass is just the standard. You need 4 in most Lost Box decks at this point. We do have 2 Escape Ropes in here, 4 Mirage Gates so we can build up our Pokemon when we're at 7 in Lost Zone, 3 Nest Balls, 1 Pokegear 3.0, 2 Super Rods. This is actually a really nice way to get stuff like Sableye back into the deck if they've been knocked out. Personally, I think that the deck does need a Clara. I'm trying to figure out where that space could be made. Maybe cut a boss and add a Clara. You know what? I think just for the sake of the video, while we're here, we're actually going to edit. We're going to cut a single boss's orders and add a Clara because I do think Clara could really bring this deck to the next level. When you're in the late game, Sableye is super, super powerful where you could just go Sableye for the rest of the game. And with the 2 Super Rod plus now Clara, you are actually able to utilize your Sableye a bit more. So yeah, I think I like that. We do have 2 Super Rod here. Again, that is for the Sableye and getting energy back into the deck so we can Mirage Gate it. 4 Switch Cards so we can get those Comfeys in and out of the active for flower selecting. 3 Path to the Peak to block out some of those V Pokemon and EX Pokemon with powerful abilities. 1 Boss's Orders to do some nice gusting KOs. We have 4 Colress's Experiment. If you're going to be playing a Lost Box deck or any sort of Lost Zone engine, you got to be playing 4 Colress. Love Colress. It's a really good card. Got 2 copies of INO here. This is one of the new cards from Paldea Evolved, and honestly probably brings this deck a little bit further than it was before, thanks to being able to run Disruption. We do have 1 copy of Clara that we just added, and 1 copy of Roxanne. If your opponent has 3 or less prizes remaining, you can use this, set them to 2 cards in their hand, and you get 6. Pretty nice card. We do have another good card here from Paldea Evolved. We have Jet Energy. Jet Energy says that when you attach it to a Pokemon on your bench, you can switch it into the active spot. This is a good way to actually start using Comfeys a little bit more aggressively. Where you have a Comfey in the active, you can attach this, bring it into the active, use the new Comfey, and then use the Jet Energy to retreat. It's a really good way to get 3 Comfeys without using any switching options whatsoever. Now for the last of the energy here, we do have 3 Grass Energy, 4 Psychic Energy, and 3 Water Energy. It's a very bare bones list, but honestly it works, and that's all that matters when it comes to a lot of different things. You don't need to have like a very convoluted weird build like, oh, I add this because of that. No. As long as your deck is consistent, and as long as it does what it needs to do, it's pretty good. I'm not going to say perfect because everybody has their own preference on what perfect is, but at the end of the day, as long as it's functioning and it works, it's a pretty decent deck, right? So let's jump into a game so you guys can see the power of Giratina VSTAR. Alright guys, here we go into our game with Giratina VSTAR. Hopefully we get an extremely good start. That's the one thing about these Lost Box lists. You do need an extremely good start to at least stand some sort of chance in a lot of matchups. And if you don't, then you're really feeling like you're playing catch up for the rest of the game, which doesn't feel good. You know, this isn't the worst start. What does stink is we don't have a way to actually retreat this Comfey from the active. So it's looking like a 1 loss zone turn. But we do have the pass, or the VIP pass, so it's not, I guess, the worst thing on the planet. We'll see. We'll see how this turns out. It could actually, like, end up being the worst thing on the planet. We'll find out for sure. Wait for opponent to finish setting up. Please do. Please do set up. Okay. A Greninja inactive does not tell us much, right? Because a lot of decks play Greninja. Okay, let's start with the VIP pass. We'll go ahead and get ourselves Comfey and Greninja. I would go get myself a Tina. Let's get the Tina. We'll get the Tina. This video is all about Tina. We got to get Tina on bench. Flower selecting. Guess there's a cross switcher. Okay, we'll take that. Sucks to lose the other cross switcher though. I do want to bench this Manaphy because I don't know what my opponent's up to. They could be up to some pretty gnarly shenanigans. Flower selecting again can get us a path to the peak, honestly, which might actually stop them from setting up if they're relying on this concealed card. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it and pass. It does stink to lose that Mirage Gate, but we play 4 of them, right? So it's not really that big of a deal. If I can shut down like conceal cards this turn and see if my opponent's able to like not do anything, we're golden. Just whatever. It could be well worth the risk. Well worth the risk. I mean, if they do nothing here, then it really does tell me that they relied on getting to use concealed cards this turn to see if they could draw 2 and get a little deeper in the deck and find what they need. But, you know, if that gets shut off turn 1, what do you do? Okay, they do have a Nest Ball, though, so they are actually able to get another Pokemon onto the bench. What are we up against? Maybe we'll finally find out what we're playing against here. Like, it could literally be so many things. It could be a Lost Box list. It could be a Chen-Pao list. It could be a Gardevoir list. There's so many different things that play Greninja that just seeing the lone Greninja does not do much for us. It does not do much for us at all. Comfey. Okay, so we are up against some sort of Lost Box list. Okie dokie, okie dokie. And they do have a Colress. We have a Colress for next turn as well, which will get us to 4. This gets us to 5. Homie here gets us to 6. We're probably not going to be attacking with Giratina V next turn. I saw Dark Energy. What are we up against? Some sort of like dark LZB list for like a counter for Gardevoir or something? Now you got me curious. Now I'm fully invested at this point on what we're playing against. Okay, so flower selecting. That's going to get them to 3. I'm assuming it's going to be like Moltres. Like Moltres is going to be what we're seeing. A water energy. I mean, that's kind of to be expected. But water dark. Yeah, I'm going to assume that Moltres is the Pokemon that we're up against here, right? It's got to be Moltres. Okay, they pass. We got a Mirage Gate. It's not the worst thing on the planet. This isn't great, though. Let's go ahead and Flower Selecting. Flower Selecting can get us another Colress or another Comfey. I'm going to go with the Colress. Feels like the safest pick out of the bunch. I'm going to have to attach Retreat. It doesn't feel good, but like... Oh, dang, dude, I'm so dumb. Please give me some sort of switching option. Oh, no, dude, we eat eggshells. We're so dumb. We could have, like, nest balled. Oh, man, we misplayed that hard, everybody. Don't do everything I do to a T, because you will probably lose. What we should have done there is literally just flower selected for whatever it was, attached, played nest ball Cramorant out, switch, retreat, and then attack Comfey for a knockout. That's what we should have done. But we didn't do it because we are an egg. And eggs don't think clearly. Okay, but they do have a Colress. So Colress is going to get them to what? 5 now? 5 with... Okay, you are literally not telling me what you're playing. Like at this point, like a lot of Lost Box variants play Hawlucha. So... I don't know exactly what we're up against, if I'm being 100% honest here. I don't exactly know. Okay, was that a Super Rod? Okay. Excuse my yawn. Again, I'm so tired from that league challenge today. It was so much fun. That was a lot of fun. I played Rapid Box. It was a good time, but you're not here to, you know, hear me yap about, you know, my league challenge. You want to see Arctina. Another Giratina VSTAR. Fantastic. Exactly what I was looking for. Not really, though. Okay, at this point, yeah, it's fine to probably lose a Colress. Let's go ahead and flower selecting here. Probably keep all the energy we can in our hand because we do have an INO available to us, which is nice. I could escape rope, but I think it might be better to actually attach retreat, attack with Cramorant. That might be the play. Yeah, let's do that. We'll attach and retreat. Can attack with the Cramorant. I'll go ahead and Mirage Gate, though. We'll start building up the Tina now. And we're not going to evolve it either. It doesn't make sense to actually evolve our Giratina V. At least not yet. Because it doesn't make sense to throw a bunch of energy into the Lost Zone if it's not necessary. So we can actually use the Shred attack here so long as they don't continuously like set up. Unfortunately, they're not in a really good position for setup. They did only get 1 Comfey, but with that 1 Comfey, they did manage to get themselves to 6 in the Lost Zone, which is actually impressive because they've Colressed every turn. So I like it. It's worked out quite well for them. Okay, another Colress here. I think what I'll do next turn, it's a risky play to use my boss this early. But if they don't put another Pokemon down, we could very well escape rope this into the active and swing Shred, knock it out. They got a Comfey though, so it's not really going to work out for us. Show me what you're playing, please. I know it's some sort of Lost Box, obviously. But why do you have Dark type, like Dark energy in your deck? Like, what are you playing? Show me what is in here. I am so beyond curious at this point. It hurts. It hurts. I want to know what I'm up against. And, you know, I could already know. It could be the Moltres that I had mentioned earlier, where it just comes in and swings hard. The longer the game's been going on, the more prizes you've taken. That Moltres could, like, be a little bit of a nightmare for us. But If it's not, though, like, what else are you pairing with this? I'm so beyond curious. Just show me. You haven't given me any hint. Nothing's in the discard. The only thing that's in the Lost Zone is literally Dark Energy and a Hlucha. Okay, I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that they are not exactly happy with their setup. I'm going to go ahead and escape rope. See what they give me. Oh, dang, dude. I'm silly. I should have used... This is why I'm saying I'm an egg. Every time. We could have actually used that flower selecting. We are not bright individuals. Well, let's go ahead and Iono, though. We'll make that 11 card hand a 6 card hand. That feels pretty good. I got a Jet Energy. Could come useful later. And we got a Sableye, so not bad. Let's go ahead and spit innocently here. Get a knockout on the Manaphy. See ya later, buddy. And grab ourselves a prize card. Because the only thing they've been building up is this Greninja. We do have Manaphy in play, so it's like not the worst thing on the planet. What are we up against? But you can see, like, when you're in a match like this, right, where your opponent, you're both on Lost Box and stuff like that, just being a Lost Box deck that can play Disruption and kind of like really focus in on being a single prize deck with a really decent like 2 prize attacker in just the Giratina V, you can probably like really take control of a game, which is nice. They did get to 10 before us though. Most of this game they've had 1 Comfey and they got to 10 before us because we forgot to flower select last turn. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, what can we do? What is realistically possible next turn? I mean, we could just Cramorant. That's something we can 100% do. No doubt about that. But I'm also, like, I want to bring up my Giratina V so I can, like, knock out the Greninja. But if they don't... But if they play Moltres, right? That's where things can get scary. Oh, see, now I'm forced to. I'm forced to bring out the Giratina V. They've moved my hand. They've made me do this now because if they're gonna obviously knock out our Cramorant with this Comfey. Wait, didn't they attach retreat already this turn? Why would they do this? Or maybe they didn't. Maybe they... No, wait, they definitely did, right? Yeah, they definitely did. So they can't actually even retreat this Comfey. Did they mess up? Okay, yeah, they got a switch card. Maybe they're actually just setting it up for next turn. That could be a possibility. They're probably just setting it up for next turn, which I don't hate. I mean, it makes sense. Okay, so the power of Jet Energy is about to be unleashed here, and you guys are going to see why. I need 10 in Lost Zone. I'm going to bring out my Giratina V. I'm going to use my Jet Energy to bring out my Comfey. I'm going to flower select, and now I have a way to actually retreat this from the active back onto the bench and start swinging with my Giratina V. So I think what I'll do this turn is I will... Actually... No, we won't do that. I want to see if I can get Greninja down, because that'd be pretty good, because they don't have Manaphy themselves, but we'll just go ahead and Shred here. Shred is like the only attack that we can really use at this point that's going to knock out their Pokemon. VIP pass. We don't need you, bro. It's way past the first turn. Way past the first turn. But see, like, with a deck like this, right? Sure, it's Tina VSTAR. It's Lost Tina. You want to see the Giratina VSTAR. It's super interesting because, like, both decks are, both Pokemon are extremely good, right? Because we do have the Giratina V, which is very powerful. It has Shred. Like, it's a very optional deck. Like, you can go different routes here different options to take depending on the matchup, and that flexibility can make a lot of difference in certain matchups, which is so cool. Like, it makes the deck a little bit more playable and it feels good. So even though you're not seeing Giratina VSTAR, it's still nice to know that the deck does have some options available to it that make other matchups or certain matchups a lot more bearable. Like, I could just 280 knock out this Snorlax. I could also just shred it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to lose 2 energy if I know that I can just shred it. It's better to have the Giratina VSTAR in certain situations where you know that you can't shred for KO, but you know that you might get KO next turn, so you just don't mind losing the 2 energy because they'd go into the discard anyway. So I don't mind this list. It's super fun. It's very easy to learn and understand, and there's different ways that you can actually like set yourself up for success. It doesn't always have to be Giratina VSTAR. It can be Giratina V. You can play this like a Sableye deck where it's just Sableye all the time, and Giratina is there to take one last final big KO with Lost Impact. Or even Star Requiem. But they are building up this Snorlax though. I'm wondering, is this like a single prize like LZB list with Moltres? I'm wondering, like, I'm so confused. Like, I still haven't seen what that darkness energy is for. If we haven't seen it, if we don't see it for this game, let me know in the comments what you think it was, because I think it was Galarian Moltres, if I'm being 100% honest. Galarian Moltres just sounds right to me, that would be the Pokemon for this deck. It seems like they were trying to go like a single prize LZB list, which isn't bad. I prefer them. I think they're a lot of fun. But haven't seen that Moltres yet. Where is it? I'm assuming it's Moltres. It's gotta be Moltres, right? Like, what else could it possibly be? like Samurott VSTAR. Could you imagine? Could you imagine just like going out, hanging out with the friends, and then, oh, what happened, buddy? Oh, I got donked by Samurott VSTAR and LZB. Like, what? They chose to not attach to the Snorlax here. Oh, coming out with that Sableye, huh? Coming in with the Sable Boy. Let's see where they decide to route the damage here. I can knock out their Sableye next turn as well, so I'm not worried about it. Oh, they're going for my Manaphy. Yo, chill with that, buddy. We have a Clara in the hand. You might want to chill out. So Manaphy is definitely one of the Pokemon we're going to be getting back with Clara. Another reason why I like Clara in this list too. And they're going to put some damage on my Giratina. Okay. That's fine. Honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm going to go ahead and knock out the Sableye and set up the Comphase for double knockouts. Like, I would prefer to not, like, have to use my Clara without getting a Sableye. But the Manaphy's too important now because the Greninja's pretty much built up. Double Sableye. Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and flower selecting. Got a switch card. Love to see that. Double Sableye, and this is where like the double Sableye can really come in clutch. Let's go ahead and Clara, get myself a Manaphy, a Psychic Energy. We might as well just grab all the homies. All the homies get to come back here. We can attach an energy here. Switch cart into Sableye. We are at 10, correct? We're at 11 actually. All right, we'll Lost Mine. We'll knock out the Sableye. So we'll go boop, boop, and kadoop. And then we'll start setting up these homies for a knockout and this homie for a knockout. Now, if you're wondering why I didn't put any damage counters on the Snorlax in the back, it does have an ability called Unfazed Fat, meaning that it is not affected by any effects of an attack from my Pokemon. So, unfortunately, Sableye doesn't do damage. It does damage counters through an effect of an attack, so I wouldn't actually be able to put any damage counters on Snorlax if I wanted to. So that's why we didn't do anything to the Snorlax. At least putting 20 here means it puts it at 110, so that means Cramorant can actually get a KO next turn. One on each of these Comphase, so long as they don't, like, what's it called? Switch cart. If they don't switch cart any of these Comphase, we can get a double knockout on them per game as well. So we do have, like, routing to be setting up here that's going to work pretty nicely for us. Let's see here. Flower selecting. Hopefully they don't switch card though, because that's going to hurt my feelings if they do. What did they just toss there? A Clara? Yo, rip. Rip, Clara. See you later. Not hanging out with us anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of like scoop here though, if I'm being honest. Do they have any switch cards? Ooh, boss's orders. They put me at 170, so Snorlax can actually thumping snore KO our Giratina here. Okay. You know what? That's fair. Take your 2 prizes, buddy. You actually earned them there. They've used 2 switch cards. And there's one in the actual lost zone. But honestly, at this point, it doesn't even matter. We do have game. They should have knocked out our Sableye here. And the reason being is we could just now 60-60 ping the Comphase for game. And Snorlax is asleep, so going after our Giratina didn't really work. And that's why double Sableye works really well too, because getting 2 Sableye down, see how they like, if they did knock out this Sableye, just for show, I can Mirage Gate here. I'm not trying to beat him. I can Mirage Gate and then set up the other Sableye for the same play. Like, double the Sableye is extremely good. And because my opponent thought, you know, Giratina was the major threat here, they got, you know, tunnel visioned on it, and now they pay the price with a game loss, because getting tunnel vision in a game also is not going to guide you towards your success. So that is the game. I wish I got to show you the actual Giratina VSTAR in power, but I think when it comes to actual deck, you know what, let's just go to the end of the video. All right, guys. So as much as I would have loved to show you guys, you know, the Giratina VSTAR and all that, I wanted to actually show that specific gameplay. Okay. And the reason being is because when we think of good decks nowadays, we think of decks that can consistently set up, which is correct. We think of decks that can hit specific numbers, which is subjective depending on the type of deck. We know that not all decks hit 280, right? But this one does if you get the Giratina VSTAR out. The reason I wanted to show this footage is simply because, yes, it is the VSTAR, but notice how my opponent got very tunnel visioned into playing into boss's orders to knock out my Giratina V. That type of tunnel vision can actually affect your gameplay as well, because it's called a Giratina VSTAR list. You're going to assume that you need to play the Giratina VSTAR. That's what it's about. That's what you gotta play. But no, you don't always have to get tunnel visioned when you're playing a deck that is reliant on, or not reliant, but you know, its name derives from a specific Pokemon in that list. Giratina VSTAR wasn't used at all in that game. Instead, we used Giratina V because the deck is flexible. And if there's one lesson I want you guys to walk away with when it comes to this gameplay footage, and I can already see some people might be mad because we didn't actually show Giratina VSTAR, a lot of profiles aren't necessarily about specific Pokemon, right? It's about how the deck is played. And in this specific instance, this deck needed to be played not like a Giratina VSTAR list, because Giratina VSTAR would have done more damage than it would have done us good. It played more like a Lost Box list, where we played Sableye to our advantage. We played our Cramorant. Yes, we used our Giratina V to get specific knockouts, but it was a situation where we needed to use the V. Honestly, that's the lesson I need you guys to walk away from with this video. I'm not trying to bait you into thinking, oh, you said it was a Giratina VSTAR list, we wanted to see Giratina VSTAR in action. I get that. But that's the lesson. When it is an actual deck called Giratina VSTAR, you expect that card. But if you're the one piloting the deck, you don't need to always use it. That is the lesson. Don't get tunnel vision and focus on what's going to help you win the game rather than what's going to help you live up to playing the card that makes the deck, right? You don't need to play it if you don't have to play it. So that is my gamer lesson of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay safe and be kind.